I'm Nicola Coughlin, and for BBC Radio 4, this is history's youngest heroes. Rebellion, risk, and the radical power of youth.
She thought, right, I'll just do it. She thought about others rather than herself.
12 stories of extraordinary young people from across history.
There's a real sense of urgency in them, that resistance has to be mounted, it has to be mounted now.
Follow History's Youngest Heroes wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the Criminalia podcast. I'm Maria Tremarchi.
And I'm Holly Fry. Together, we invite you into the dark and winding corridors of historical true crime.
Each season, we explore a new theme, from poisoners to art thieves.
We uncover the secrets of history's most interesting figures, from legal injustices to body snatching.
And tune in at the end of each episode as we indulge in cocktails and mocktails inspired by each story.
Listen to Criminalia on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, my name is Aaliyah Yates, and I'm a producer here at Wonder Media Network. And I'm so excited to be guest hosting this week's episodes of Womanica. This Black History Month, we're talking about Renaissance women. As part of the famed cultural and artistic Harlem Renaissance movement, these women found beauty in an often ugly world. The year is 2004. Harlem Hospital is in the middle of a major renovation. In one hallway, as layers of paint, fire damage, and age are chipped away to make room for the new, a forgotten piece of history begins peeking through. A 20-foot-long mural depicting life in Harlem, as perceived by one young woman in 1936. Today, we are talking about that woman. Please welcome Georgette Seabrooke. Georgette was born on August 2nd, 1916 in Charleston, South Carolina. At just 3 years old, Georgette, an only child, was already able to read and write. In search of better educational opportunities, Georgette's parents, George and Anna, decided to move the family up north to New York City. Georgette grew up in the Yorkville neighborhood in Manhattan. Her family's transition from life in the South to life in the big city was not always a smooth one. Georgette's father passed away while she was still very young, forcing her mother to enter the workforce for the first time as a domestic housekeeper. But Georgette's mother still prioritized her daughter's education, making sure she was enrolled at competitive schools. These opportunities allowed Georgette to continue to excel. At 17, she was admitted to the Cooper Union School of Art in New York. While at Cooper Union, she developed her skills as a painter, with a focus on portraiture. In 1935, her painting, Church Scene, received the school's silver medal. It's the highest honor at the time. Georgette's education extended beyond the walls of her college, too. She became an active member of the Harlem Art Workshop and the Harlem Community Art Center, where she learned from the leading figures of the Harlem Renaissance. It was the 1930s. The Harlem Renaissance was beginning to wind down while the Great Depression was in full swing. As a leading art student, Georgette got a job with the Works Progress Administration Federal Arts Project. The WPA was established during the Depression era to alleviate financial burdens of artists, and was the government's first major attempt at prioritizing the visual arts. Georgette and a team of fellow artists were commissioned to create murals for hospitals in New York City, including Queens General Hospital and Harlem Hospital. In 1936, when she was just 20 years old, Georgette created her now famous mural. She titled it Recreation in Harlem. The mural depicts everyday citizens of Harlem in a series of vignettes. A choir singing in an amphitheater. A postman delivering mail. An intimate conversation at a dinner table. Georgette was reflecting the community she was in, a community of women and children, of Black folks living and thriving and creating and loving. It was rare for WPA-funded work to center Black lives like this, but Georgette's mural was meant for the Children's Pavilion. She wanted to create something that would bring comfort, familiarity, and joy to the hospital's youngest patients. It was all smooth sailing until, at the last minute, Harlem Hospital rejected 4 of the 6 proposed murals, including Georgette's. They accused Georgette and her fellow artists of inaccurately centering Black people as the population of the hospital and the Harlem community. Harlem Hospital, according to its administration, did not want to be known as a, quote, colored hospital. But Georgette refused to stay silent. She and the other artists waged a protest. They would not succumb to the demands of the hospital and the city. They would not alter their work. They would stay true to their vision. Georgette won that battle, and the mural was completed in 1937. Later that year, she was denied her diploma, with Cooper Union citing incomplete work as the reason. But in a multitude of ways, this was just the beginning of Georgette's life and career. In the late 1930s, she married Dr. George Wesley Powell and had 3 children, Wesley, Phyllis, and Rick. She focused her energy into raising her children, but she still illustrated calendars and magazines and even studied theater design at Fordham University. In 1959, Georgette and her family relocated to Washington, D.C., where she ultimately became an art therapist. During the 1960s in D.C., she began creating artistic opportunities for her community. In 1966, she started Art in the Park and continued to host it annually for decades. In 1970, she founded Operation Heritage Art Center, which became known as Tomorrow's World Art Center, a nonprofit arts and education organization. Georgette also continued to grow as an artist. She never stopped learning. In 1973, almost 2 decades after her time at Cooper Union, she received a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Howard University. During this period, Georgette began incorporating mixed media into her portraiture work and was influenced, as always, by the community around her. Her most well-known portrait from this era is called But for the Grace of God. The painting is a self-portrait, showcasing how, for her, there is little but luck separating her from the unhoused women she saw on the street. Over the years, Georgette's mural back at Harlem Hospital had disappeared under layers of plaster. By 2004, all that was visible of her 20-foot-long work was her signature in the left-hand corner. But today, after a $4 million restoration project, the 6 WPA murals have been relocated to a public part of the hospital and now have a gallery all to themselves. Digital enlargements of the works color the exterior windows of the hospital, a city block long and 5 stories high. In 2008, over 70 years after they withheld her original degree, the Cooper Union presented Georgette Seabrooke Powell with a Lifetime Achievement Award. She died on December 27, 2011, at the age of 95. All month, we're talking about Renaissance women. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Shout out to Jenny and Liz Kaplan for letting me on the mic. Talk to y'all tomorrow.
I'm Nicola Coughlin, and for BBC Radio 4, this is history's youngest heroes. Rebellion, risk, and the radical power of youth.
She thought, right, I'll just do it. She thought about others rather than herself.
12 stories of extraordinary young people from across history.
There's a real sense of urgency in them, that resistance has to be mounted, it has to be mounted now.
Follow History's Youngest Heroes wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the Criminalia podcast. I'm Maria Tremarchi.
And I'm Holly Fry. Together, we invite you into the dark and winding corridors of historical true crime.
Each season, we explore a new theme, from poisoners to art thieves.
We uncover the secrets of history's most interesting figures, from legal injustices to body snatching.
And tune in at the end of each episode as we indulge in cocktails and mocktails inspired by each story.
Listen to Criminalia on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.